Hello and welcome. My name is Yevgeny Rusakov and you're watching TVP World, interview from Vilnius. The nasty 2024 is coming to an end. Unfortunately, there are many unsorted issues that this year handed over to the next one. One of those issues is the ongoing war in Ukraine. To discuss how good or how bad was 2024 for Ukraine on the battlefield, we are joined today by the retired colonel from the Association of Colonels and Team Europe Direct expert, Vaidotas Malinionis. Vaidotas, glad to see you back. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting.
So, Vaidotas, how is the situation on the battlefield right now and how has it been changing throughout the year?
Okay, right now, situation on the battlefield is that Russia is, in average, taking over 20 square kilometers per day.
Okay, is that much?
Well, it's not very much, but anyway, it shows that Russia still have initiative.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the question is at what cost? At what cost? The cost is very significant, taking into consideration that especially November and December was very devastating months for Russia. They lost per month 45,000 troops.
Okay.
Because of that advantage that we have, which means that they cannot to keep on the same pace further if we will be losing at the same step. They are receiving territories, we are gaining territories, but they cannot compensate the losses. And it's not only about the troops, it's also about, tanks and infantry fighting vehicles and other ammunition. But talking about this year, 2024 in general, the Russians gained asymmetric advantage against Ukrainian defenses after they introduced gliding bombs, which is a very dangerous weapon. And Ukrainians, of course, suffered big casualties because of that, because it is very effective by destroying defensive positions of Ukrainian troops. Also, it is devastating the cities, the towns. So it was really a big headache for Ukraine. And the delay of the support for the Ukraine's Western delay of the support, especially if you remember the spring in 2024.
Exactly, yes.
That
$60 billion package.
$64 billion package was delayed. And even after it was released, those bombs were already working. And Ukrainians during 2024, they lost some territory. I would say that they lost 100% of Luhansk territory, and approximately 80% of Donetsk territory. But also, we should remember that Ukrainians also took Kursk region.
Exactly.
1,500 square kilometers.
We will come back to that. But in general, if we take 2024 as a whole, as far as I understand, it wasn't very successful for Ukrainian armed forces, but still there were some things that we should be, happy about. What are those? Yes,
they lost land, territories, but it's not very significant, I should say. And they still have, those important logistic hubs. But nevertheless, the cost which inflict Ukrainians to Russia's armed forces is also very high. And even Russia cannot endlessly, organize offensives in such a high pace. So anyway, it will bring the result, maybe even in the nearest future.
Okay, you've already mentioned that lack of ammunition was probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest problem for Ukrainian armed forces. What other problems for Ukrainian armed forces could you name?
Both sides are having significant problems. because we are fighting. That is pretty normal. Both sides are fighting, and that side who will be more resilient, more logistically supported, will high moral and will, that side will win. This is rules and laws of war. So. And that's the reason Russia is pretending that it is much stronger than it is, and because it is painful also for Russia, because it struggles to organize or to mobilize reserves. It also and the lack of manpower also demonstrated the invitation or usage of North Korean troops, which are deployed right now in Kursk region, and right now they are already engaged into the battles, into the fightings with Ukrainians. Plus, they also are finalizing their, Soviet time reserves. So this is also not endless, So, and right now we know that they lost 3,000 tanks. They are losing much more than they can produce. So which means the culmination point is also approaching for them.
Vaidotas, here's the question then. In 21st century, in our era of technologies, we still see that manpower is still vital on the battlefield, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Although this war actually introduced new technologies, and especially drone systems and artificial intelligence. And right now, for example, Ukraine did a huge progress. Now I believe they can produce more drones in Ukraine than all European Union or maybe even NATO put together. And now we can see that they can strike with those drones deep inside of Russia.
Which they do.
Which we do. And in addition to the permission that United States right now gave to Ukrainians, now they can strike inside of Russia with all means what Western countries are providing.
It's good that you've mentioned West, because I have another question that is related to Western allies. So the US presidential administration has long been urging Ukraine to lower the mobilization age from 25 to 18. So what's your take on this? And could this somehow solve Ukrainian problems on the battlefield?
I think the lowering of the age could allow for Ukrainians to mobilize more troops. But, blaming by the West and encouraging Ukrainians to lower such an age, it's a little bit immoral. First of all, if the West would provide enough means to fight and also allowing Ukrainians to strike inside of Russia a long time ago, then okay, then
this could be the case.
But just, for Ukrainians to mobilize their youth and to kill them into the battlefield without the means, it's a crime under international understanding. And also if we are mobilizing 18 years old guys, we must train them, yes? It's not...
You mean by saying we must train them,
West,
you mean
yes,
West must train them?
Yes,
okay.
We must help to Ukraine to train them. Actually, we are doing that. We are training Ukrainian brigades in European soil, so we are doing that.
Okay, now we come to that operation in Kursk region. What do you think about this, and was this a successful operation? And do you think Russian armed forces are capable of taking it back before Donald Trump comes back to the White House?
No, I don't think we will take back before.
You mean, they've got a bit less than a month?
It's not possible. It's not possible because Ukrainians are holding that position pretty well, although they lost some territories, but that is not about territory. It's a maneuver defense, so one day that piece of land belongs to one side, another day to another side. So the most important is Ukraine showed that they can take Russia's territory, and they can hold it, and they can hold as long as they want,
and use it as a bargaining chip.
Yeah, exactly. So they can use it as a for the bargaining
For negotiations.
If West will push for the peace negotiations.
Okay. Again, you're just going by my question list.
Okay.
What's your opinion about freezing the conflict? Is this a good option for any of the sides?
You know, there is a saying that bad peace is worse than a war.
Okay, that is.
Yes, there is a saying. So I think everybody wants to finish this war. Everybody wants to stop killings of innocent people, destroying cities. But on what kind of conditions? I think first condition which Ukraine is demanding, and it's very right, that if they are approaching some kind of agreement with Russia, with the support of the West, and they are sacrificing their land, for example, the rest of the land should have NATO guarantees. Or at least that part of Ukraine which is in Ukrainian hands should become part of NATO.
Under Kiev?
Yes. If not, okay, at least they expect to have some kind of guarantees or obligations by NATO nuclear powers, like the United States. Israel has such kind of obligations and guarantees from the states, Taiwan, Japan, so maybe Ukraine also can have. So this is another option. And second point is that if we achieve some kind of deal with Russia,
which is hard to believe.
We want to make sure they will not, regain their power or multiply their military capability in, for example, 2 or 3 years. If, for example, the deal is done, conflict is frozen, and Russia's war machine is still producing everything for war.
What's then?
Yes,
that's a big question, in fact.
Yes, if that is continuing, then this peace is,
doesn't cost a thing.
Which means that after 4 years, we will have much bigger problem, weaker probably, and it will be very real danger to the NATO countries. Starting, the Baltic states, Poland, Germany,
and so on.
Scandinavia.
Okay, briefly, what's your take on 2025? What's your forecast?
Well, forecasting is very hard, but
I do understand that. It is.
But I believe that President Trump will be tough on Russia. Right now, he is very unpredictable, but it's also good. And he is not as soft as Biden's administration. Even the good news is that, that Biden's administration right now approved and pushed $500 million worth support for Ukraine just in a couple of months, during the period of couple months. Plus, they also, before the president inauguration, Ukraine will get $22 billion worth support as well. And plus also they received permission to strike inside of Russia. And that, everything what I mentioned was agreed and encouraged by coming administration, which is a good news, and it shows that even negotiations, if negotiations is approaching, Ukraine and the West will have much stronger positions. Plus, I would advise for our NATO allies to follow NATO General Secretary's Rutte advice to switch to the wartime mindset, because it's really war and we are under attack. And
I guess we should have done that very long ago.
Yes, at least 3 years ago. Yes, but okay, better later than never. So I think this is the last call.
Okay. Vaidotas, well, let's see what 2025 brings us. Thank you so much for joining us today, and, well, happy Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you. Happy Merry Christmas.
Cheers. And I would like to remind our viewers that our guest for today was a retired colonel from the Association of Colonels, Vaidotas Malinionis. You're watching TVP World. Stay with us.